Hello everyone and welcome back to another Division 2 video today with Game 2 between Jaapaasa and Koenig. So it's an amazing Game 2. Now we're gonna see amazing Game 1. The last one I casted live when it was played. This one I just watched, but really I was not that focused on it. So I know the result, I know some plays, but I have not paid that much attention. So I was getting a little bit tired, but still want to see it. So I can tell you it is a fantastic game, but I'm myself very curious to see some of the details that I actually have missed and remember. So this is, of course, an infantry fight, which is the best kind of fight for me personally. I enjoy these most, both for watching as well as playing, although there is something to see all those armored vehicles battling each other. So before we get into this, and we start off with 4th Alpina Monte Rosa by Koenig. So this is a division that I think Koenig is very familiar with. He plays that frequently often, and but he told me that he's a little out of shape with it, but we're going to see how we can do with that. So in the recon of it, do you have the best artillery? This thing has it's coming in with a transport that is armed and armored. It's not super well armed, it just has a machine gun, but still, this unit actually has a radio, which is huge. Then you have the 20mm recon car, of course, in B phase, and the autoplane also B phase. There's a ton of light armor, none of them have vet. Tank type, the autoplane in A phase, which is basically kind of the same thing. It's also a 20mm recon car. I think it's a little bit worse off, but I'm not 100% sure in terms of armor. It's only 15 points, super cheap. And then the M15, which is a nice tank for 20 points as well. It's got decent pen. The P26 is actually a proper medium tank, but for super cheap, has 1750 meter range for whatever reason, but still, you know, a limited pen. And then in CPs, you have a lot of spam with the M415. Now, support is where, sorry, I kind of skipped the infantry tab. So we have a ton of Alpini here. We have 2 leaders, and because of that, we also have a commander in the support tab, which makes sense if you have 2 leaders. And this is an infantry heavy division, so having more leadership kind of helps, and the commander definitely makes sense here. Now, the interesting thing here is that he takes 2 cards of Alpini, which is okay, but then he takes 2 cards of Pioneer. This is, of course, the special unit. It is one of the best, if not the best, CQC unit in the game because it has SMGs, a Flamer, and a TNT. So it has everything based. There's nothing else you want except for maybe a little bit chunkier unit and more SMGs because it also has some rifles too. And he takes both. There's 3 cards in total, 2 of them in A phase. So in B phase, there's no CQC at all, which is very interesting to me. And C phase just has more Alpini and another leader, and then C phase we have Pioneer and Alpini to run it all up. Support time, we do have, of course, the 50mm, not actually a 45mm mortar. This one also has shorter range, like the Commonwealth one or the German one, so it's not fantastic. Flamethrower. MG 42, as Koenig likes to do it in A and B phase. 65mm is a fantastic support gun too. You can actually 5, which is pretty nuts. So really high availability for such a good support weapon, and then of course the usual commander ammo. A T-tab, Panzerschrecks only in B phase, which is very odd, but if you remember the matchup, Munte is not a super armor heavy one, but actually all the light annoying stuff is in A phase, so that kind of, I don't know, I would still want to have it in A phase, to be honest, but I guess Koenig is very, very confident that his 65mm, because he also, you know, he also doesn't have AT guns in A phase. It's very interesting too. But I think he's very confident that his 65mm is probably going to do the job, because the thing that Jaapaasa gets in A phase in Munte is all lighter stuff. So it kind of makes sense from that perspective. And then only B phase onwards he gets Panzer Force. This is why there are 75mm in B and C phase, and Panzerschrecks only in B phase. But still, against some of the A phase armor, I think Panzerschrecks would be useful. A tab is interesting with the 20mm, which you kind of have to do. It's bad A tab. You don't have that many options. But it doesn't bring the 90mm. He brings the 75mm, which I've never seen in action. So I'm very curious to see how those perform. It's just the off-map playing Koenig loves to use those. And then 80mm mortars in B phase. So no actual proper artillery in A phase. And no like proper artillery altogether. Not saying that 80mm mortars are bad. They're actually good because they have radio in this case. And then the air tab, fighter of course, which you kind of need. Spaviero, but this is the good bomb one. Koenig usually loves the other one with the battle loadout. But you get a free and it loads faster, but this time he chose this one. Some Recon J87, of course, which is supported by the Recon, is why it probably brings it in B phase, and then some Ariete, which is really good because it's a medium plane and a medium resilience plane. It's not super fast, but the bomb loadout is good. And yeah, availability is good, so he gets 4 of them in B phase. It's definitely nice. On the other side, we do have Jaapaasa's 4th Munte. This is definitely a nice counter because this division actually generally handles light armor quite well, and if it fights against a division that has limited CQC, that definitely helps too, because Munte has a decent amount of it too. Now, in the recon, we do have a special thing here, which is just double flamers, which are decently chunky. Not super chunky, but, you know, they're more than just double two-man sniper teams. And they do have radio, which is really nice. So these are very annoying, really good for openers. Just make this division so hard to deal with sometimes if you're playing an infantry-heavy division. So that's maybe the other thing. Light armor, infantry-heavy division. Those are the kind of division that this division can generally deal with super well. You brings a lot of them in A phase for the openers, I guess, and then some in B phase too. SDKF set, which is nice to help. I'm not sure if you have to take that in B, you might have to. In the tab, it's very cheap in A phase. There's a general thing about this division. You can mix quality and quantity relatively well here, which makes it super annoying for other infantry divisions to deal with. On top of the sniper issue that we already have. So he brings the Recruiti, just this hardened single machine unit, and Detinuti, which is an interesting one, but not a good one. So you're going to see on the card, which is a lot of rifles and some mollies. VM Pioneer Soul is kind of like a Sturmpire, but with better SMGs and one man less. Then you have the Venatori, the Munte, which is kind of like a Panzergren MG34, but I think they do have straight pull rifles, which makes them quite a bit better. So that's definitely nice. And then he doesn't even have a C phase card, it just brings a lot more B phase units. And of course, leaders in A and B phase, they do have snipers and a bazooka, so that makes it really good. Tank tab, no proper tanks in A phase because Panzer IVs are phase locked. I can't take them in A, but our 35s are there and they are just annoying at 5 points, and you can just spend them out super well. Same thing goes for the Flampanzer in the support tab in B phase. There we all see the 47mm. I think we all know it, Hungarian superpower unit, Hotchkiss and Flamers. And the AT we have another cheap tool that is super good to deal with light armor specifically, which is the Venatori Deck R35. It's a nice little tank hunter. Speaking of those, we have more with Martyrs in B phase, as well as then 2 AT guns with 75mm and 50mm, as well as the Venatori Deck, which are a fantastic AT unit that do have a TNT. Fairly chunky, some SMGs, and of course the bazooka. AA tab. There's also some phase lock near you can't take mobile wagon in A phase, so this is why we do have the Vickers and the 20mm in A phase. 20mm you come in with the Hotchkiss truck. It has 2 Hotchkisses, which makes it quite a bit better than 20mm there. Artillery tab, the 75mm is absolutely fantastic. So this artillery tab is just nuts in general. The 100mm are fantastic artillery pieces, great for support at in radio range and decent for counter battery too. 75mm is really good. It has a high rate of fire, especially at double vet. It is very accurate within radio range. This thing is super deadly and it's just all around super useful. It has smokes and AT as well. Air tab, some Ju-87s, which makes sense against a division with light AA as for Alpina. Recon, fighter, of course, all the usual, and then AT planes, because I guess Jaapaasa is very much afraid of getting spammed with light armor, which is very reasonable to assume, so better be on the safe side. And here we are, let's look at the deployment. So down south, Jaapaasa has some of his R35 tank busters, and some flamers, and then just some recruiti. So he is not really pushing this at all, which is interesting, because he has the speed advantage after all. But there's the light armor, which of course Japan's tank hunters can't keep up with, so I guess that's the reason why he maybe doesn't want to get in there. He just has a recruiter to hold ground, which is a nice move, of course. And on Koenig's side, of course, he goes into here heavily, because of course he probably expects Jaapaasa to push here. He put some recon here, which is interesting. He might want to sneak that through later on. It has radio, so that can be useful to have that in the back lines. Other than that, just some Alpini, some Pionieri, but not that many, and then a lot of light things, as well as some artillery support. In the center, very defensive, just an M15, and then some Alpini. Yeah, that's about it. Just trying to contest all of these, make sure it doesn't lose their flags. Pretty classical deployment. Now Jaapaasa is going in super ham. He's setting something here, I guess it's a flamer. It is, so this is a very classical move. And you can try on red side. The same goes for blue side for this flag, by the way. You just send a flamer in and see if it gets in there. If it does, and there's nothing in there to contest that flamer, you get a flag. If not, you don't get a flag. But there's not really that much to lose by doing it. And here we do see a nice push there. Again, some tank hunters, which are definitely going to be needed. The 47mm, of course, which are fantastic. One AT gun for the road. And then just some lighter things, and then some Venatori Munte, so good units, and some recruiti mixed in there. Up north, not a tank hunter, some 47mm to hold this area here. Not a 75 mil to hold the open here, and then a little bit, no, 1 military Munte, some CQC. Koenig's pushing hard here with some light armor and flamethrowers and things like that. So we have to say, of course, Koenig's best place to push really is this flag, unless he has a division that is good at opening, like for this area here, which it is not. But yeah, so on the blue side is kind of the best area. For red side, you can take this one, then you have 2 more flags they can easily grab relatively close. This is why, generally speaking, red side is considered to be the better side, just because you have 3 flags very close to each other. So it is easy to get 3 in one big push. Just that. And with that, we just start the game. So I think Jaapaasa, looking at his plan, definitely plans on going into this and making this his major push, and of course from here you can then develop into there. Koenig, of course, if you make enough pressure here, you might eventually get to cross into here. Problem is, he has a lot of open here, you can kind of cut that off. You have positions in here that you can take up to make sure that this does not get too crazy and too deep. Then of course there's Air Force issues, so it is not so easy for blue to do much here, but Koenig, I guess, expects a major push, which is why he puts things there, because it's very classical for red to contest this. It's also, it's not super easy to cross in there for red either. If blue can really hold that, then he can make it with the town, and it's like some forest patches, he can make it also very tricky. The flamers are getting in. Flamer here throws down smoke. This is an interesting choice because, well, this thing could have maybe killed some plants, but I don't think he got the chance to do so. But with the smoke, it's definitely not going to happen. No, I mean, if Jaapaasa wanted to only have this there revealed later on, he would have brought it later on. So this is very, I don't know, I don't really get the concept there. Flamer tried to get in. Looks like it's going to get in. Oh, yeah, no, 65 mil. Well, 65 mil might spot it now. No, it does not. Flamer got in. And Jaapaasa is pushing back to his Flamer. The Pioneer cell not really moving yet. Forgot when I looked at the deck. Is this adjusted in price? No, it's still 20 points. It has 1 more man less than the Shrimpire, but it has a very good SMG. So, that. Double machine gun pushing there. I've definitely noticed that recently when I played some divisions with single machine gun units. It is really hard to stop a push with double machine gun units. I think Jaapaasa's kind of learned from that game too. Or one of them at least, where, yeah, you can kind of just walk through. And he's doing that just right now. He had a 14 for a brief moment, as back to 11. Koenig, of course, bring the first plane, as we would have expected, which is Barbero. Really good bomber, of course, as I think we should have covered when recording the divisions. I did that a little bit earlier, so I'm not 100% sure what I said about this, and if I mentioned it at all. Yes, definitely going to hit some things here. This is where having to recruit in there is nice, because that can kind of, you have 3 units here. Which one do you target? Of course, he targets the right one, because you can see which ones are, but it can sometimes be a little bit tricky. 45 mil mortar doing its job. A lot of flames here. Wow. Pineri can't really do much at range. The Berettas are okay at 150 meter range at the end of the day. No, okay, they're good. They can be used at that range. But you have to still be a little bit careful. Oh, Renzo Di Cara at 35. Finds the Ultra Blinda 43. It's going to get taken out. This thing fires reasonably fast. Yep, 12 rounds a minute is the exact number. Recruits here being once again super annoying. Flamer tried to get in here. Not much to take to get there. Koenig ducked that out. More recruity coming in. Yeah, I mean, for just single machine gun, MG42 infantry, MG42 being very good, of course, it is already annoying having a recruity everywhere. Right? It's generally speaking annoying, but of course it's then going to take a little bit more time. Oh, Stuka coming in, going after Pioneer. This is of course the biggest threat here for Jaapaasa. This you can deal with. This infantry is better than that. But this thing in here can really dominate. Koenig get an early 20 mil in there, but these are still not good enough to stop a JUSN. Or actually, no, they are. I mean, they haven't buffed them. They've just, in performance, they've just buffed the price, generally speaking. Not of these, though, because they have the AT shells. But, of course, with the Stuka being buffed to medium resilience, this is something, this is a plane that is not stopped by a single 20 mil anymore, which kind of sucks. But at the same time, it's nice that I can actually use them. 242. This thing is good at penny recruiting. 47 mil is going to get involved. It's not doing an awful lot of suppression. It does some damage though, but not so fast either. And the blob of Venatori, the Munte, Tenuti and Recruiti pushing forward. I mean, this is one of the things that is so annoying about Munte. You have some actual quality infantry, like the Venatori Munte is not bad. It's like a Panzergren MG34, but it's chunkier. It has rated rate. There's also the Panzerfaust version. So that's really good actually. And then on top of that, you have a ton of cheap stuff like the Tenuti and the Recruit. This makes this division so annoying. The off-map plane got in, and Jaapaasa tried to chase with chase. Is this the one? Oh no, this is not the good one. Some do have 20 mils, and in those cases you can use it to catch a plane like that. But Koenig called it back early enough, and then yeah, there's just a timer for the evac, and then it despawns, even if it's over here and not towards the end of the map. It's always frustrating if it happens, because you always feel like, oh, it's not at the end of the map yet, so I can still catch it, and in reality it just doesn't work like that. Tenuti moving forward. I mean, this is where the nice for. It's 20 points, the junkies, it's really annoying to deal with them. And they do have 2 Molotovs. Now, they're not really doing an awful lot of damage, because the Molotov does damage, and then, of course, from moving you take damage when you get shot at, but it's only rifles. Straight pull rifles, and that makes them quite a bit more deadly than regular ones. Still not fantastic, but, of course, good thing is that only 20 points, you move them somewhere in, you have a bunch of them, so you just have to chew through them, which is super annoying. And that's what we're going to get to see here. Jaapaasa trying to... No, Koenig actually trying to save his 45 mil. Moves Alpina and Pionieri further over here. And now, of course, these guys are not having any advantage move. Venturi gets a nice kill there on the light armored vehicle. And Pionieri now coming in to try and fill the gap here. So, Koenig is on the back foot right away. Trying to get in up north. The 45 mil is certainly helping there. Alpina pushing forward also helps. And some reinforcements are now coming in for Jaapaasa too, just to hold CQC. But at the moment, Koenig struggles to really get a lot of pressure going on. This is the problem with this flag. If you go for this one flag, which you kind of have to, you have to really work hard to then make more out of this, right? If red side, if you can push red side back and take this flag, sometimes even this one, but you have to really invest into that. It's not that easy. All the while they're being pushed here, very difficult to pull off for Koenig now. As again, Koenig is very busy at the moment. Pionier here getting forced back. Oh, J87 and getting a nice kill there. Not kill, getting the bombs off there. Despite the 20 mil being here, it is kind of sad for these like bad AA divisions. It's really a problem that these are performing so poorly now compared to a Stuka, which was, you know, good for a phase previously. But at least you can stop them. But we're going to get a nice bombing run up north, and we do see the off-map plane coming back in again, so it's going to... Yeah, this hurts, and Koenig can capitalize from it. He moved the Pioneer before. That's actually a really nice move. Which I love to see. He's not moving the Alpini, which he could, certainly. But I guess he just didn't want to spend the time on pushing them now, but he had the Pioneer ready to go. There's a hit by Jaapaasa, 20 mil, and the Hotchkiss. The problem is it's just going to stand right into the off-map. It's moving away, but it's not moving a lot of units away, though. So that's very interesting to me. Kind of want to spread them, usually. As Jaapaasa decided not to. 45 mil has been saved, and is now doing some more 45 mil shenanigans. Tenuti will not win against the Pionieri. Not at all, actually. K7. Trying to get it after something that is not there. Probably the MG42, which has moved. But the 20 mil might be able to... It's a little bit far now. It's probably not going to stop it now. Oh no, it still spotted it. It is a little bit too far behind. Well, we have a Centaurian. I've not spotted that thing. I'm probably going after the off-map lane. Did it shoot it down? I don't think so. And there we go. The Stuka goes down. Kind of missed out. Maybe it was chasing this Baviera up north, but it looks like it was not successful. I can't see any wreckages. Yeah, I mean, you can still not fly directly into this. I think this is... No, I'm an idiot. That's the Italian plane, of course. That's by Koenig. I don't know what I was thinking there. Takes out one of Japan's Stukas. I had a moment of stupidity. My brain was just absent for a bit. Oh, the 75 mil is still alive, has pushed further forward. Now this thing is really cool with the heat shells, however, accuracy is really bad. And the AP shells, let's say the pen is not ideal. So at the moment, it is just failing to hit that P26. And it's not really going to get better with the suppression that is going to come from the P26 shooting back. Now, there is the consecutive shot bonus. So if you don't know, the more often your AT gun or any unit for that matter shoots at something and is missing it, the higher the accuracy is going to get. So you get an accuracy bonus. Kind of like, you know, you can adjust your shot, right? It's kind of, I think, the logic better. What I was saying here, where Koenig is pushed further forward, is he kind of queued it up before and just made sure that Pioneer won't be there too early, which is a move that I really like to see, because I'm not sure how it is about you, but for me personally, it happens very often that I want to do a play and then I kind of forget. So I queue up one thing, then I kind of forget to do the other thing. Happens to me with off maps more often than it should. For example, Alpina Deck could potentially get some kills here. There's 2 units. Neither of them are particularly expensive though, so, you know, the loss there is probably limited. Recruiter pushing forward. I mean, there's only one Pioneer here. They can only reasonably go after one thing at a time. Another one moving in there. This thing doesn't have HE, by the way, so not much you can do about that. But the R35 could potentially move in and help. Look at that, Alpini takes out both armored vehicles by the looks of it, unless the P26 killed one of them as well. I think it was probably the Alpina Deck still on the 30 though, with him pushing this flag as well now. Recruit is just so overwhelming, this scenario. Actually, yeah, it even has 2 more men than at the Alpina. Now, of course, the machine gun is... Can you stop hitting them? It's only a SAP B30, which is quite a step down from the MG42. Then again, they also do have straight pull rifles, which definitely helps. Now, Koenig still has the better Gladiator, which is an interesting move. I don't really know what's the plan with this. It has an LMG, so maybe the plan is just to make sure that no Panzerschreck unit can sneak through here. But then this will probably do the trick as well. So I am a bit confused by this move, not gonna lie. Back to 12-12, Koenig is pushing back with the Alpini, but the recruity spam and the one mentioned the Munte making it very difficult, though the P26 is there to support. At the moment, it's still not that much AA, so maybe Koenig could get back in with his plane. Brings a commander out, which is interesting. Again, we've talked about this when talking about the decks, right? With so many leaders, it's definitely reasonable to take a commander, and I think this is one of the divisions where, when you have very infantry-heavy divisions, it can definitely be worth it bringing a commander. But I'm just not sure if this is the time to do it. Koenig certainly felt like it was off-map, by the way, going down up north. Not doing an awful lot of work. It was kind of way too far back. We missed that here, but I've seen this when the game was played. It was, I don't know why Koenig called it in over there when all the units are here. And you have to remember the off-map planes do have recon too. So they can actually spot what they're going after, but probably he called it right away and didn't really wait for the recon plane to... or for the off-map plane to also spot things. Of course, you want to keep bringing it back to safety. Although I think it has used up all his calls anyway, so... There was no, he didn't need to be that careful with it. Jaapaasa trying to push back, but the Spavera bombing run definitely did some pinning and killing. So I think Koenig should eventually be able to overwhelm here. He has 65 mils, which of course can be very oppressive as well. But Jaapaasa is just pushing further in town. I mean, for Jaapaasa, there's really, like, this is a working strategy. There's not much that he needs to change. He's still building up pressure. That's not a bad thing. He's called in the 75 mil, which I think we've talked about too. Really good unit, very solid. There is no radio. Never mind. There is yeah, there's of course a recon and the unit itself. But here it doesn't reach till there, but the recon does. There's plenty of radio there. More Venatori coming in, and the mobile Viking. Now, so the A coverage is coming in there as well. Of course, Jaapaasa doesn't want to get air. Destroyed by air. I mean, after all, we all need to remember Koenig is known for his airplanes, and Koenig is well known for this division too, and using the air force in that division very good as well. So of course, Jaapaasa might want to be careful when it comes to the air force. I think one of the best moves that Koenig could do is at some point just not really bring much air, but and I'm sure he's done that in the past too. But it's just. When he can, this is his strategy. This is something that he can do very well. So it's probably not that you know, probably not be that smart. Not use that thing that he's good at. They seem to try to push really far here, but not really that much he can do. 75 mil are going after the 75, the other 75 mil here, and not really how it's supposed to be. Oh, so Chantara going in for the strafe. Now I think this is no, this is medium resilience actually. It's the Veltro that is low resilience then. Just wanted to double check that now. Now we see the Ariete in. Air spam has started. Shuka's coming in. 220 mils now. Can stop one of them. Koenig is... No, it's not focusing it. Ariete is going after the Vento de Munte, the one thing that Koenig can't deal with otherwise. Oh, Che takes out the 65 mils, and he has a recon plane there as well. Red is being called back. It is, at the end of the day, not the best plane for actual fighting. If I remember correctly, I already forgot which one it is. There's one that has better loadout than the other, if I recall. The other one is in Seattle. Both are worth taking because they have a good loadout, are reasonably priced, and have medium resilience, but they're not fast, which of course is the biggest issue there. R35 is probably going to get stressed out before it can kill anything, and then eventually it will just die. But this thing can also panic, so we'll struggle, but it will happen eventually. More M15s coming in. Against these kind of light armor units, it can definitely do something. Oh no, sorry, I was looking at this with the pen. The M15 can most certainly, and these kind of units still at 13 level for Japan's load as it continues pushing on. Again, this thing is probably used at too much of a distance. These things are fantastic with the rate of fire that they do get, and they're really accurate actually with radio, right? Some guns are, even with radio, not super accurate. This thing is incredibly accurate. Like, look at this dispersion. Like, this is the dispersion that you get with this gun, and it's absolutely insane. It is a killer. Like, it kills even tanks very, very commonly. If any tank sitting still, this thing going after it, it will die. So really good unit, but not at range. Like, with outside of motor range, of radio range, is incredibly inaccurate. Alright, coming in to stop the push here. This of course could have been very dangerous. A nice move there by Koenig. He probably bought his shoes for this because I can't imagine the other one having resupply already. And this was 100% worth it because of course there's not much here from Koenig that could stop that. And once you get your radio units in the back line, it's super annoying. Now of course you always know where they are. That's a good thing. But yeah, they can pressure flags. Of course, there's also a threat to the mortar. That is a good reason to try and stop that. Aegis 129 coming in to stop the auto blade now, which could do some serious damage here. This thing could be moving, which is not interesting. But of course, this is a safe call, and I guess Ipasa expects this to be useful later on as well. Since, you know, Alpina has a lot of armor, so, well, the value of a single kill that this gets is not fantastic. Overall, I think it can be pretty decent. But Ipasa needs to call it off because the 20 mils will eventually wear that down. 81 mil now in by Koenig, and I can tell you from my own experience, Koenig is very good at using those radio 81 mils. And using just them is very efficient in a way, because you can get the effect on the front line that you want, and your opponent is surprisingly often not really going after them, but also you can spread them out super easily, so you don't lose that many points if one of them dies, which I do quickly, admittedly. But yeah, they can do a lot of damage very easily, and yeah, going after them is just really annoying because again, they're kind of everywhere. This one off map lane coming in, it should be out of off maps, but he can draw some fire from the AA so that the Ariete can get through. Surprising to see this forcing back an Alpina, but I guess that was probably the 75 mil order Panzer IV. Pack 40 now in as well as another 75 mil. Off map lane might eventually die, but if not, Koenig can just use it for the same purpose again. Morty is running low on ammo though. Now Koenig's push up north has been going decently successful, but now he's kind of stuck again because there's an next forest patch that needs to work through. The 45 mil appears to be out of ammo, so that makes it a lot more difficult. There's a Hotchkiss here, but no AA, so this is where no AT. This is where Koenig could now potentially make some planes. Panzer IV got penned once. That's big. And the only dominance that Jaapaasa has in the open at the moment. Now we do see a 100 mil coming in. So Jaapaasa generally, and he commented on that after the game too, so I think I can say that now. So Jaapaasa slowed down quite a bit, and basically what he told us in the Discord after the game was that essentially what was happening is he was burning through into very fast, and he kind of realized that he might need to slow down. I think he was already having a lead, so that's definitely a good call to make in that situation. But that being said, what's important when you do this, and we're gonna have to wait and see if this is actually going to be the case, you need, as really key, you really need to do it the proper way and use artillery correctly, and still apply pressure, because if you don't, you let your opponent get back the upper hand, and that's one of the worst things you can do. Now, one thing that's very important here, I think the mobile wagon died. I'm not remembering if it's one died. There we go. One died to mortars. Could have been that one. Another one died, I think, in a different way at some point, but I might be wrong. Another mobile wagon coming in. It was again Koenig, of course, using his Air Force really nicely. All this 45 minutes now out of ammo too. Pinheiro can easily kill all of these. There's not really much these two units can do against it. Now, of course, we have these guys in as well, and at the moment they're not at the right range, but double sniper is still very annoying to deal with anyway. But of course, you can easily block out distances with this as well. Now we do see a nice little push here by Koenig. I think his biggest issue here is they're just not following up fast enough, or he didn't have the units with range in far enough or forward enough of a position. So he's at the moment, I think, struggling with really supporting this push, and now with the after AT guns and the Panther IV opening up on those auto blinder, which otherwise could have been very nice there. Up north, still no A, so the Arty is going to get a good kill over there, but unfortunately for Koenig, a big part of his pusher has been forced off. Artillery blob here around the support, about the supplies, slowly working on those support and AT weapons in the center there. But Koenig, you know, reinforcing the north, reloading his mortar, and he can definitely push here and take this out. 65 mil has spotted the 50 mil here, so that could be the end of that. As I'm noticing, he is not, in fact, so he might lose that. And that, again, might open up some the area for some plays by Koenig. Machine gun pushing forward. Almost getting in position. Oh, is the Panther IV? Yeah, it's going to snipe it. That could have definitely helped it if Koenig could have gone for this Hotchkiss later on. That would have meant that Koenig might have been able to grab these two flags in the open. And while not easy to hold, that would at least have relief pressure from this, which Jaapaasa is still applying. He still has a lot of infantry. He's reinforcing it with some of his snipers, actually moving them over here now to cover the open off from this angle. There's something that a lot of people also forget. You can both from the open and these two forest patches kind of like fight into the town. You can also do the same thing from here, cover up the open as well. Koenig actually bringing it on a third element as he grabs this flag. He's re-grabbed this one for the time being, and he had the one up north, but things of the Alpina dying, he loses that flag again. He's still struggling with getting this one back, so at the moment, just rough game for Koenig overall. Mobile wagon has gotten in and already moved a little bit again. 81 mil still out of ammo. The Pioneer moving in. We are in C phase though, so Koenig has more Pioneer himself ready to go. So Jaapaasa's little advantage in C phase that he could have had maybe not really holding up super well. Now so you see the next wave of the air spam going after these two Venatori Kerketare. Pinning one of them. Arety moving in, Spavero moving in. Yeah, I think he's maybe focusing a little bit too much on those with two planes. I get the concept because you want to make sure that they really die. So you send multiple things on it so that when they arrive, you know, one of them is going to get forced off, the other one can at least do the job. But at the same time, spreading it out to try and include these as well would probably be a bit of goal. I think the Arety was forced off by a crit, so it was actually good in that case. Jaapaasa moving the mobile wagon after the AA came in, so I'm pretty sure the first one was then the one that was killed by the mortar. Because that explain why Jaapaasa is now moving that one. You have to remember, a lot of people kind of get lazy on their A very quickly if it's not immediately focused, and tend to not move it. You do have another 100 mil moving in, so the artillery battle has started. 75 mils are being targeted. 13-11 for Jaapaasa still, while Koenig's trying to get pulled back on this, but he's not really supporting it. That's the interesting part. His 81 mil is going after Churchill, which is reasonable. You always have to assume, unless you think that you're gonna take it yourself very soon, it is always better to go after it and just destroy it. Because yeah, it's gonna, so if you plan on pushing in the town later, it's gonna actually make it more difficult, and it's not guaranteed that you succeed. But what you know is that for the time being, your opponent's going to get an advantage from it, so it's better to just kill it off, which is what we're going to see here. Koenig by now surely has guessed that, or no, not surely, he has definitely guessed at something in there, and of course he has guessed correctly. 81 mil going after the 50 mil over here. I have to imagine it's the second one that came in. I think the first one died. We saw some kind of battle by looks of it. But the mortar not really doing much there. 100 mil now going after the mortar. There's also ammo right next to it, so this could potentially be very problematic if the ammo gets killed. Because we have to remember that very often ammo is more limited than the artillery. It usually takes some time to the artillery dies. Now with the mortars, of course, it's not necessarily true, since they're very squishy, but generally speaking, losing the ammo is almost always worse than losing the artillery piece. Except for those cases when your opponent has like one artillery piece, of course, but which is not the case. 11 for Koenig now. Very nice comeback deck, grabbing these two flags here, but one of them is already lost again. But the other one is very close to losing as well. He really would need some Panzerfaust, Panzerschreck over here to deal with that B2. Yeah, the Alpina could maybe do with the Panzerfaust, but it's gonna be tricky. Probably not going to be successful, if we're going to be honest. Rescue set moving in. Oh, there we go. Rove Panzerschreck moving in. Koenig getting ready to push back the town and hold it. Back to 11 actually. Oh, the M14s have spotted the B2. That can of course work as well. This thing, not quite in range for this one yet. Actually, now it is probably. Yep, takes it out. Munte have spotted it though. Koenig paying attention, moving it back. Arietta moving in, Movewagen opening up again. Is Koenig going after it? 81 Wood is moving forward, interesting. Bomber kills one of the recruitments off. Leader only pinned though. Alpina moving in, but there's nothing to follow up. On to 75 mil. Oh no, it doesn't die, it's just in force at the moment. Another 100 mil coming in. Very close to the front line, actually. So my guess would be that what Jaapaasa is doing with it here is he's using it for direct fire. Because I can't really imagine, like, instead of 2k HE, which he doesn't have. Artillery Blob is now going after the 20 mil. The other one's still alive. Mortars are still alive too. Not really sure if it's going after the one, but I guess you can see that one and the other one's dead. Or maybe just, like, put this area on defensive fire, and the mortars have moved, but the AA is not. But at least Jaapaasa manually retargets to the 65 mil, or both of them are on fire at will. That's of course also possible. This one's not shooting at all though, but this one's moving for the same target. So either you spawn all of them to group, or they're just really on. Bavaria and the Red, they're coming back in. I'm surprised that we don't see the other Arietta, but he's used that previously. But Koenig is very good usually at spamming in a one big wave. Just Munte is pinned. Koenig, if he moves forward, might be able to surrender that. There's no leader close enough. Bavaria gonna do some more pinning, but no real killing. I guess that's what he has hoped for. Because then he could really secure that flag with the Alpina over here. But with them just pinned, it will just flip later on. Oh, 81 mortars immediately go after the 100 mil, which is moving further forward. Now, interestingly enough, it should see the 75 mil. I would think it do. It does. Jaapaasa should be able to. No, he really doesn't see that. Wow. It's not at all. Interesting. It also doesn't see the best ugly area. I mean, there's no recon here, so it actually makes sense. Surprising that, well, the one that he had here died. Now the 75mm opens up. It sees it now. It's not returning fire though. So maybe this is just not a unit that actually fires unless you specifically target with something. Maybe it doesn't really do direct fire. I don't know why, but this is really weird. Really weird. I actually wanted to check this because I've seen this when it happened. I was super surprised. I could not really understand what was happening. The fact that I couldn't see the first makes a lot of sense. Oh, the AP shell here being dangerous enough for the Panzer IV. The buzz getting very lucky that this thing bounced, and he's immediately falling back as he knows that he's pushing his luck maybe a little bit too much there. 2 arty now coming in, and failing as the mobile wagon. 2 mobile wagon, stop it, next to a leader as well. Gonna make it very tricky, and this is very unlike Koenig. I think Koenig really is struggling here to find his way into the game, and this is when he starts making these suboptimal plays, generally speaking. Not him specifically, but as generally speaking, players start to do them in those situations. Because usually when you see Koenig doing his air plays, when there's AA, which of course against 2 mobile wagon you might not expect that, there's not that much you can do. But generally speaking, when Koenig does these kind of plays, he usually really waits till he has a massive wave and then he goes in, because then you have a high chance of your planes actually getting in, and you also have a high chance of them getting out. So it's very atypical, I would say, for Koenig to do it like that. It's not something that we usually see. 25mm being focused by H129. I mean, this thing has 220 mils. It's actually really nice. Now, what surprised me is Jaapaasa using this one for strafing. I guess it's just really has no idea how to use it properly. Otherwise, J87 also tried to get him back off as well. The Taro actually only barely surviving. I mean, again, there's 2 mobile wagons. So that's actually very dangerous. Very learned for Koenig though, as he got these 2 flags. Alpina is pushing, but the M14 has a crew panic crit, which is really bad for Koenig. He really have needed that to kill that SKF set, which has been very annoying for him now. And the fact that, oh, yeah. It's just bugged out because it is not moving, even though it should be falling back. I can't see the damage. Now it's got bailed out. Wow, okay, it's super unlucky. It should have moved, then it would have gone away from this at least, and it could have re-engaged. There's next to Arietta. Yeah, definitely. I think Koenig is definitely really struggling and kind of desperately trying to find another way back into the game, which is really struggling with at the moment. So this is probably why we see these kind of bugs again, and this is not very common for Koenig. So if it happens once or twice, that's one thing, but again, it has happened multiple times, and it's not necessarily super wrong. It's just you can do it in those kind of tactics, but there's AA here, he knows that. Oh, speaking of which, one just died, I think. Where is it? There we go. One just died. Again, missed it. So only one mobile wagon. Oh, I think yeah, maybe the armor push here. Like tanks are pushed forward. We spotted it maybe. Line of sight to towns are a little bit wonky, so it could potentially be very relevant for Koenig still. And so I was gonna say he's finding his angle way back into the game, but immediately is taking away from him again. 75 though could potentially fix that. Artillery being silent at the moment. Very interesting there. These are silent too. They still have ammo, so it's not unreasonable. Koenig can decide to have another go here, but unfortunately for him, Jaapaasa in the meantime reinforced this. The center here going so well for Jaapaasa meant that he could actually reinforce up north. It's making it much more difficult for Koenig to push further there. I think when Koenig was initially pushing, he had a little bit more momentum there and could have continued, maybe gotten away with some of the flags there. But as it stands now, this is actually not going to happen anymore. Another mortar here is out of ammo. This one being put to good use, going after the mobile wagon that has unfortunately moved. But it is definitely a good call to do so. Church Tower actually still alive. His flag is still barely held by Jaapaasa, back on the 13-11. So it's really hard for Koenig to actually get back in any way. And I think it's just at this point it's really hard to do anything for him, because Jaapaasa has had the tickets for so long, and he has slowed down the right way so far. There's still chances for Koenig to push back, but as it is for the time being, for the moment, Koenig will always struggle because Jaapaasa has slowed down the right way. He has put his artillery to use. He's slowly building it up. He has not really neglected the front line too much, although in the center it's definitely starting to look like that. So Jaapaasa, I think, is kind of taking things as they are for granted, and he's really underestimating the power of the just the brute force attempt that Koenig could still do. Now we don't see brute force, but we do see some smaller pushes now again. Oh, Spaviero, getting quite a few hits. Is it going to get up? Because if Koenig loses this is probably game over. And he loses it. But that's a huge loss, because this thing, of course, would both tank a lot of shots from the A, but also it's just one of the additional planes that you can use in a big air push here, which could still do a lot of damage if this is going to happen. We haven't seen a lot of Arietta though recently, so they are coming in a larger pack. No, still 2 of them at a time, but Jaapaasa still hasn't actually invested in any air force up north, so this is where Koenig decides to strike now. And I think if Koenig pushes further in the north, you can actually get quite a bit of value there with the Arietta supporting very nicely. So some AA would need to come in there from Koenig if he really wants to do anything against it. From Jaapaasa, if he wants to stop that. Koenig could even get greedy enough and bomb these, which is quite deep, but it is usually, if you see that, it's always like, I take that opportunity. Especially considering how much damage they have been doing so far. I think it will not be an unreasonable thing, but it is very greedy, of course, and you have to be very careful. Of course, also, if you don't have to recomplain, it's not that good, because then you go just by looking where the explosion happens, and you might be a little bit off and then you don't kill it. So rather kill something that you can actually see where it is. That's a way more reasonable approach. 50 mil here, taking out the auto blade. About 75 mil is now responding. He's running low in HE shells, so 12-12. With this push by an MG42 going well, Koenig can make sure that these units here are supplied with HE continuously. I think this could actually work super well. And again, if you focus the mortars on it, he's going to get back in here, which he's doing at the moment. It's actually bringing it to 13-11, and at the moment, it looks like Koenig actually can make it, because he has some flags to spare. Right, we just lost this one again, but it's not that big of a deal because it's back at 12-12. Of course, he wants a single tick, but he's not getting ticked down at least, and he's slowly grinding his way back in here. Again, Jaapaasa's neglected the front line here. That was a huge mistake there. Really big mistake. 75 mil also being put to very good use in the open, so I really love to see that. It's not something that I would have ever thought of just using them like that to just slow push forward. But in this matchup, yeah, it can actually work, and it is working reasonably well. So it's good enough for Koenig to consider bringing another one, actually. Wow. Mortar here, looks like one of them has died, the other one's still alive. They're going after the Hotchkiss. Again, maybe a little bit too far, although there's specifically area here which will provide a radio, so that's how this is working by the looks of it. Jaapaasa is still being pushed back here, but he still has a lot of units here. And Koenig's pusher kind of died out, so there's not that much you can do anymore at this point. Which is very problematic, of course. Got a Pioneer coming in. Mourier coming in on Jaapaasa's side, which is not unreasonable. 14-10 for Koenig now, though. Taking this one again, he's re-grabbed that one with his Alpina pusher for auto blade is there to support it. Nothing here that can deal with the auto blade. Never mind. 75 mil. The Vickers here. Well, I can't see the auto blade. I can only see the Alpina. So this thing can actually pin those. And the Pioneer is slowly moving forward. Might be able to get in. No CQC over here. Should easily get the kill. Alpina pushing forward here as well. Surprised that this can't see the Vickers. It has HE shells left. Oh, now the airstream starts with 3 Arietta. Going after the SKZ and the B2, taking out both of them. That's a huge kill. Jaapaasa responds by bringing in 2 Panzerfalls. That's actually a really good move by Koenig. Because of course the armies were just really holding him back here. Now, Jaapaasa is also answering adequately with 2 Panzerfalls. But at the same time, you know, because there could be much more than this pushing. And there's the threat of Koenig getting across here, which would be really problematic. But also, it's good because you know, it's just kind of a bit of an overkill over here, so that might allow Koenig to get some better trades over here with Jaapaasa over-investing up there. Chintaro trying to have a go at the Stukas, but now the mobile wagon is coming in. It is on the move order though, so it's not nearly as accurate, making it so that Chintaro can still circle around. I'm actually going to get another kill here. No. But at least it's not going to die. Oh, it's gonna loop around again. It's still not gonna get a kill. Jaapaasa, I think, is no. It's just circling. Jaapaasa is not even using his air micro, and it's gonna get that lucky. Wow. Now it goes down to the 20 mil. I was gonna say. This thing has to die, considering how deep it went. Now fire circle around. Chintaro is trying to get out. Wagon is on it as is 75 mil, but it despawns really good, yeah, I would say a good air fight there for Koenig. So he slowly finds some ways back into the game. The Vickers here is getting suppressed as well. Still surprised that you don't see that. I'll open it up on it. Now a push here down south is also happening. And it looks like, oh, Panzer IV, yeah, this issue. This can kind of cover this. But the Alpina some of them might be able to get across. I don't think the Panzer IV can stop all of them. And what he really needs though is a Pionieri. But if he has one of these, Pionieri, then he might be able to do some plays in here. That would be absolutely fantastic. Now, can the 20 mil actually shoot below 100 meter range, or is this another unit that can't? It is loading, so it can. I was wondering, always wondering if it's treated like a machine gun. It is not. Absolutely wise not. Yeah, 20 mils are dangerous, guys. They are super deadly to infantry. 100 mils now, slowly grinding this out. Pioneer pushed in there, got this flag successfully. But more needs to come. 75 mils finally spotted the Vickers, got the kill there. 81 mil going after VM Pioneer over there, and once that's that, Alpina can actually get back in and do some work there if the Hotchkiss is taken out, which is not unreasonable. The front line here actually telling Koenig now that there's not that much here, but now we have a mobile wagon and two Panzerfusi, which makes some plays here with armor and air relatively difficult for Koenig. So he needs to be, yeah, he needs to find a way around that, which is not going to be super easy. Mobile wagon is not on the Q move order. It's on a Q move order now, so it should be able to open up, but it was just in a weird spot. Still stopped the Arietta though. I don't think it's going to stop all of them. Oh, it's going after the deep Panzer IV, yeah, but it's not going to do enough damage. Two of them would definitely kill it, one not necessarily. HS129 coming in now to spot things, but 275 mils should easily force it off. There we go. Now Koenig looks like getting desperate since he's just sending a row of M14s now. And there they come. But Jaapaasa is not really ready for this. Jaapaasa has not really brought in any new AT, and I'm certain he has some left. I don't think he's used all of it. But there was just not that much armor play by Koenig, and I think Jaapaasa invested a lot in his artillery, so this is actually really coming back to haunt him now. Panzer IV is coming in, but of course Jaapaasa doesn't know what's coming. He's just moving in for the open instead of here, where he just actually needed. So this was really dangerous. Really dangerous. Now, the time, of course, is not in Koenig's favor. He needs to make some plays quickly. He needs to get back to 15-9 ASAP if he wants to turn it around. But at the moment, it's not really looking like that. However, if he can do a lot of damage with these, maybe that's a different thing. The big issue that I can see here is, of course, the rated rate. Rated rate means that even if Koenig does an encirclement, the units will maintain an area, like a frontline area. The other thing is, that really is out of ammo anyway, so unless he passes or resupplies it soon, the M14s, even if they get there and kill them, they just don't do that much damage. It's from being forced. I think the bigger impact that I can see is them killing the mobile log, because that opens up a lot of options for Koenig's air slam again. Leader up close versus Alpini actually wins. I have to imagine because it's a sniper rifle, because this thing does 1 damage, so that will add up. Alpini getting stopped by the SEG set, but they move out of range. Ooh, he's moving them, actually moving them, regular moving them. Interesting. Nothing here to actually deal with that, so... Oh, but the Alpina is going to get close enough. That would be absolutely devastating, and this thing can't do anything against that. Just hold the front line. Alpina is going to get the kill there, and is holding a flank. First line for Koenig. But the Munte pushing back in as the Pioneer buildings have died, or maybe it was that one and had to retreat. It's 129 being forced off, not really sure what it did. Oh, this one actually being pinned for a bit. Alpini now being forced off by artillery. That's what helped Koenig get the 12-12 there. Alpini, oh no, it moved around this. It moved this way around it where Alpini couldn't see it. Otherwise, he could have definitely gotten the Panzerfaust off. And as I said, 250 takes it out. Oh no, that is so rough for Koenig. Panzerschreck moving in. That, I think there's a chance of getting in there. Yeah, if it unloads here, actually, it's probably going to get the kill anyway. And this thing needs to turn first, the line. So there's actually a chance of this being successful. M14 blob now coming. Oh, it's going for the open. Interesting choice, but it can definitely work as well. One going over here just to hold the flag. And certainly Munte coming in. And I mean, what they can do is they can act as meat shield and hold these up. The FDK set can do as well. Panzerstrike, oh no, moves to cover and completely missed this. Two more of those coming in for the center. And I mean, Jaapaasa has most of his forces up north by this time. So, oh, ammo going down, that's really bad. But the mortar still is a resupply, I think, till the end of the game. He can probably use that. But yeah, so Jaapaasa has a lot of forces up north now, so Koenig's push guns up is actually really dangerous since, again, Jaapaasa has a lot of backline units, and some leftovers here from a long time ago, but some of them have really low health. Oh, Lieutenant VM here, though, with the Panzerfaust, bazooka, Panzerschreck, there we go. But it's a bazooka time. Taking out one of the M14s, the other one's going to take it out as well. Reloading as the mobile line is trying to suppress this. And it looks like it's actually winning it. There we go. Kill with the last round of Panzerschreck. But the bad thing for Jaapaasa, this thing is at least now out of Panzerschreck. So, you know, the next one moving in, not that much Jaapaasa can do against those. Pinini moving in here should easily kill those. Snipers have just showed how annoying and deadly they are. More leaders coming in for the center. Not much pushing happening here. Pinini moving in again. If the Pinini was here, that would have been a completely different story. Jaapaasa would have lost his flag. But fortunately for him, this was not always happening. M14's doing a little bit of encirclement here. One moving nicely there to grab the flag. Third level for Koenig. But he needs the 59 now if he wants to win this. HS129 coming in Jaapaasa's desperate attempt of stopping the Pioneer from killing the Lieutenant VM. And he's actually successful with it. So that's a great strafing on there. Möbelwagen trying to stop the Shintaro. That's so successful. I mean, there's no more Air Force coming in. It's also very odd. Is Koenig saving them up, or they're all in repair? Because that would of course be very problematic. You have to remember, if they're very damaged, it takes a long time for them to repair. And that's going to add on to the timer that you have when you want to use your planes again. But in order to take out one of the M14s, this Lieutenant VM is out of bazooka shells as well. But this thing is going to get surrounded anyway. Panzerschreck moving in to take out this thing, so that could give Koenig another flag. It's going to be the 1410. Not before this can take a shot at the M14 though. Not a Ventura car in, and the Panzer IV as well, so this play is not going to work again. Arietta is being forced off. Two more, but they're not timed well, and this one's going to get forced off as well then. 1410 for Koenig though. He needs one more flag, which he might actually get here if he's moving the Alpina and the Pineri. If he moves them now, he's going to get the 59. That's probably too late anyway, but it could still work. Jaapaasa's moving the 47mm now in to react to that. Alpina dying here, that's really bad. There's not that much more coming in terms of reinforcements from Koenig, at least not when it comes to infantry. So I have a feeling that Koenig is running out, or is already out of infantry, which is why he now responds to all the units. But also you have to bring things that are fast and quickly have an impact on the front line. Which I think these can definitely do. These move forward. Oh, I forgot to load it. Oh yeah, so Koenig is returning the favor with the snipers. Double sniper still really nuts though. 25mm going after Panzer IV could open up some options here, but it used the APCR. Now it's switched back to normal. Would have already killed it. Still gonna kill it. Oh, 20mm goes down to what? What killed that? What killed that? Did the Panzer IV finish it before it died? Wow, that would have been very unlucky. 59 for Koenig though, as the Alpini, and the Pineri moving in. Now, the 47mm spots the Pineri, but the Alpini is going to get in here safely. Maybe we can hide just behind there. We can also hide in that one by the looks of it. 25mm doesn't seem to have noticed so far. It's rather spending time on the Pineri. Alpini now moving forward in here as well. Möbelwagen can't stop that. It's stopping the Pineri though. Not this one. Alpina moving that forward nicely. Ju-87 going for what? Nothing. Okay. But yeah, it's halfway would be here. Yeah, no. It's not gonna happen. 2.5 minutes. Be around here probably. And that would still not be enough. Neither here nor with the times that we have. It's almost 2:49 minutes, so 1 minute basically remaining. Desperate push here by Koenig trying to get more flags. Jaapaasa is desperately trying to stop him, but I don't think that desperately anymore. He doesn't need it anymore at this point. I don't think there's much that can happen. If 18-6 could potentially still be an issue. Oh, Alpina kills the Breda. Ju-87 does not know where it is though. But yeah, I don't think it's going to change much. I think the 18-6 would not change things at this point. If it happened when he got the 59, yeah, definitely. But I think that ship is kind of sailed. And if you look at the map now, Jaapaasa is very clearly outrated Koenig. So there's just not that much to gain for... there was not that much that could be done by Koenig at this point. I think he was just badly outrated. And just, yeah, there we go. He's horrendous. And if you look at his stats, yeah. I mean, there's around... what's that, 700 to 800 points difference, and you know, with mirror incomes that's actually massive, at least with Vanguard or Maverick Misp where you have low income in B phase. So that's about 10 minutes of your income that you just have less than your opponent, and that matters a lot. It really does. In terms of technology, we can definitely see Jaapaasa got a very good start. Koenig kind of got a way back in for a bit where he traded okay, but Jaapaasa just, well, no, they both had the pieces of domination, but I think it just kind of added up that Jaapaasa could slow down and get those supporting units with the 100 mils and 75 mils, getting out enough AA, and I think that just kind of started adding up, which is why we see Jaapaasa slowly dominating for the rest of the games. I think the times where Koenig actually really managed to get back early on were more like Jaapaasa. I mean, if you push too deep, eventually you lose some units. I think it was kind of that happening, as well as Jaapaasa having about the same number of frontline units as Koenig, but eventually the supporting units will start to add up. And yeah, we had the snipers doing super well, 47 mil, not surprised about that at all. The Tenuti actually doing quite reasonably as well. Yeah, the fact that the tank buster was good is also so surprising, considering the amount of armor that Alpina gets. And just that. Now, Koenig also mentioned when he sent me the replay, oh yeah, of course, artillery did super well too. And 75 mils too, very surprised about that. No, it's the Vickers actually, never mind. But yeah, Koenig also mentioned when he sent me the replay that, yeah, he just wasn't used to playing this anymore. Again, Koenig, I think, used to be very proficient with this, but he's just not he hasn't practiced it much by the looks of it. And yeah, I mean, it was a super good counter pick by Jaapaasa. I think Munte counters this really well. Munte counters armored divisions. Generally, they don't have a ton of secrecy, right? Fourth Alpina has good secrecy, but it doesn't have a ton of it. Those kind of divisions, it counters very well. Yeah, Koenig uses just really get using his 81 mortars. I have to give him that. His airplay too, to 75 mils as well, so he didn't poorly by any means, but it just wasn't enough to stop Munte here on Kostritsa. So, great game, and I'm really excited to see game 3. So, thanks to you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day, and see you all in the next one.